And Debbie has asked, each community sees it differently. I guess it's up to the local bishop. How can one follow something that isn't consistent?
Well, obviously each community is different, and you know, and the communities are like close together, kind of, sort of, you would say. So they basically make it work for that community, and the rules depend on the people in that community. I mean, you know, like I remember, like in my community, the guys would put their lanterns on the buggies backwards. It was a fad. All of a sudden it became a fad, and literally, like, then they made a new rule, and no other community might have had that rule. So it's hard, but basically you just live with the bishops that you have.
The other question is, where do the Amish get the idea that anything modern is sinful? Right down to the buttons on their clothes.
It's pretty much all of it stems down to honoring your parents, and you know, because that's like the number one thing that they say that you have to listen to, and then obviously, you know, so you have to do what your parents did. And then when the Amish started, they weren't that modern, so they couldn't get more modern than that. However, they're becoming more and more modern as time goes on. But and as far as like the buttons down, yeah, it's ridiculous how, like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, this has to be this much, this has to, you know, like, this can be this long, and you can all, you know, so it's ridiculous how many rules they have. But there would be no rules except for the fact that someone starts doing something that's a little bit different than someone else, and then they consider that maybe he's trying to, you know, I don't know, dress nicer than everyone else, so they will pull it back, So they think it's pride, and then they deal with it that way. So where it comes is when someone does something different than everyone else, and they think, oh, that's prideful, so then they make a new rule. So
she also has another question. My biggest question is, how can the bishop pick and choose which parts of Scripture are to be obeyed and which ones are to be avoided?
Now, the bishop would say that they don't do that. They would say, oh yeah, we honor all of the Bible, but really they don't. Well, I mean, but the main thing is, they only, in their rules, they're required to preach these sermons, or, like, you know, on the first Sunday of this month, you read this sermon, or you read from here. So they're only reading what they're required to read, as the church has decided. So that's kind of why. And they're like, Amish people aren't supposed to do Bible studies and stuff like that. Like, I wanted, like, when I was home the other couple weeks ago, I wanted to do a Bible study with my siblings to show them how, you know, the Bible shows some freedom and stuff, and they refuse to do Bible studies. I mean, even though they say their religion is based on the Bible, it really isn't. It's based on tradition, and so their tradition says you can't study the Bible, so they go off tradition way more.
Right, and then she has another question. If God wanted us to live the Amish way, how do we English get to heaven?
So there's another thing, is because their whole religion is based off of doing what your parents taught you and stuff like that. Because of that, well, you know, you weren't taught to be Amish, so you probably shouldn't be. However you wanted to join, they would let you in the more modern ones, not the community I came from, but the more modern ones, and they would say Amish people have a higher chance of getting to heaven because they're the right ones, but as long as you just do the best your parents taught you, you'll be good. That's kind of their philosophy behind that. So you'll be okay, Marcus, as long as you listen to your mama.
Right. I see. Okay.
This concludes Questions Answers Part 4. Please comment below if you have any questions, like and subscribe, and we'll see you back next Wednesday. JohnShrock.com signing off. I left.